Good afternoon, everyone. So, I'm on the second one, and I aim to inform you, hopefully entertain you, and enlighten you. So, let's see. So, let's start. So, I'd like to define terms first, okay? So, we're clear, there is no contradiction or confusion. When I say science, I mean natural science. Biology, physiology, physics. These are the science that are limited to the physical universe, observable science. Okay? When I mean Christian faith, I mean Christian faith. I don't mean Muslim faith or other faith. Okay? Christian faith. Faith in Jesus, faith in God. You see, when this question is asked, are science and faith contradictory? Sometimes they ask the questions, why is it happening? Science answers what, where, when, but the why questions are answered by philosophy or theology. So when they say, why do we exist? Why is this happening? What's the purpose? Or all of this why, tell your friend, hey, we're moving to psychology or philosophy or whatever, or theology, not science. Okay? So then you can put him in a limit. Natural science is limited to the physical universe, so you can limit him. Okay? So that's the basic thing. Okay? So are we clear? Natural science. Now, in school you have learned Big Bang, the universe came from a single atom. You also may heard, because now, these are the objections or the proofs of scientists, natural science. If you heard of Stephen Hawking, he had a book. And in his book, Grand Design, he said, because there is such a law of gravity, the universe can create itself from nothing. This is in 2010. Now, if you look further, many other scientists, astrophysicists, debunk that theory. But he is equating gravity. Because there is gravity, we do not need God. So sometimes when you try to converse with a person, you have to know where they are coming from. Now this is the most significant one, because if they talk about this, you might go, what's that? So I'm going to inform you a bit, so little by little. The Higgs boson theory. Basically, they are looking for a particle. It was nicknamed the God particle, but it's nicknamed particle X. So what happens is this. They want to find how particles, these are smaller than atoms, protons smaller, when they travel through the universe, how they attract or how they get mass. Remember mass? Your science, everything has weight, mass, Mass is the accumulation of particles inside. So, they are looking for this particle that if it travels through space, it accumulates particles and then they can recreate the atom. This is what they are looking for. If they can recreate the particle, the God particle, they can recreate protons, they can recreate atoms, they can actually become God. No kidding. Because if they discover this, they can create mass. We can create energy. E equals mc squared. If you create mass from a single particle, you will create energy, and then you will become actually God. Remember the science rule. Energy cannot be destroyed. It can only be transferred. If you remember your biology. This is what they are looking for, creating. So, to explain it to you in a simple sense, it's like this. So they will say that it's everywhere. The Higgs boson theory is like what you call this? It's space wherein there are lots of like these particles, and then they're looking for this particle. Okay, I should have done this properly. But anyway, so they're looking like this God particle, this particle that they haven't yet discovered. So as soon as they discover this particle, they see that it it attracts other particles together as it travels through space. And this particle makes the protons, makes the neutrons, makes the electrons, and then they make the atom. We are now in subatomic molecular structure. So what they do is, in France and Switzerland, there is this LHC. You have to know this Large Hadron Collider if you haven't heard it. And they are smashing protons. And you know why they're smashing protons? They want to see these particles explode to recreate the Big Bang. They are recreating the Big Bang and trying to prove this happened many years ago, and that's how it densifies and becomes, becomes atoms, and this is how creation began. Now, how do you answer to that? You say, yes, we observe it, we know it, but you cannot recreate it. Remember the joke? The scientist who could clone sheep, and he said, he challenged God. Now we can create sheep. We have a creation. You remember that story? So God came and they had a demonstration, and God, out of nowhere, made a beautiful lamb, sheep, and then the scientist, we can clone it. I'll just ask for a DNA hair, and just God said, get your own sheep, because he cannot make nothing out of nothing. Okay, so he has to have something out of nothing. Okay, so that's the basic way to say, yes, you observe it, but you cannot create it. You cannot make it happen on your own. Yes, you see how it happens, you see how the protons explode and everything, but if they did it, then they can create humans, they can create practically anything from subatomic particles. So that's the basic thing. So, so the joke is, on Sunday morning, Catholics, the church, the God particle comes in and he says, you cannot have Mass without me. Okay, so yeah, that's a joke. Okay, I tried to save you, Jillian. Okay, now let's go down here to. So definitely for us Christians, we understand that God created science, and science is part of the creation, and that's why it's not contradictory. They are complementary, or they have separate fields of belief, but they work together. Okay, so that is clear to us. It does not contradict. We have scriptures to that. But I'd like to interject something we learned this morning from the marriage seminar from me and my wife. Is that for younger kids, when you say science and faith, we have to understand them from millennials and Gen Z. Is that the resource speaker this morning said, because Gen Z and millennials are influenced by internet and social media, they become suspicious of institutions, governments, anything, law, and even Christianity and science or faith as an institution. They question everything. Okay, their values come from their friends, from what they learn from the internet, from social media, but they come a lot of sources. Okay, there are a lot of sources, and that's why there's the confusion, and they become suspicious of whom to trust. In our generation, we trusted our elders, we trusted newspaper, radio, books, and we had a different source of knowledge. Theirs are different, and because of this, lots of options. She calls it options paralysis. They don't know what is real, and they cannot really grasp it. But to them, faith is being like, you're stuck up. That's the word they use, stuck up. That's old. But I'd like to tell you that when you talk to them about faith, don't talk to them it's an institution. Say it's a relationship. Faith in Jesus, as Pastor Mike said. Faith in Jesus. It's actually a relationship. It's not rules. because institutions are rules. So when you come to a millennial or to a younger person, you can say, actually what we're saying is faith is actually the basic thing, it's a relationship. So it has nothing, it's not contradictory to science, actually. Because if you think it as an institution, as the Bible, etc., these are the rules, the commands, and these are ought to obey, that's the objection, as you know, that comes from them. Oh, you say this, no, it's different. So you have to at least, differentiate it. Okay? So, so you can believe in both. Okay? You can believe in both. That's not wrong. There are Christians who are scientists, and there are scientists who are Christians. Okay? So the only main difference is that science is always searching for proof, and we already have the proof. Hebrews 11:1-3. Another note: if you have a person who is really like that adamant and that strong and gives you a hard time, you can actually trick him. This is a trick. So you believe in science, absolutely in science, yes. You believe this and this, yes. But may I ask you, why do you sleep soundly? Why do you are not afraid of something terrible happening, something like zombie apocalypse or an asteroid hitting? Well, they may say, well, I may believe that the universe, because of the law of physics, has enough energy to be stable, to keep life happening, to thriving. So when I sleep, I am sure tomorrow there's a sunrise and a sunset, and it has happened, and it has been proven. So you have belief in what? I have belief in, that's the trick. If he says, I have belief in the laws of physics, the laws of physics, creation. You mean, if you actually believe in science, there's a theory called chaos. It evolves and there's chaos and everything. You could not sleep soundly because you would be worried what would happen tomorrow. What would happen tomorrow if there's no gravity? Were you ever scared about that? No. So in a sense, they have some kind of faith or belief, but it would be probably, if you tell them it's belief in God, they won't believe you. But actually, they have a belief that everything works out well, and that this universe, our Earth, has stable enough to provide life. And maybe that's the opening. Okay, that's the opening. There's a belief that something, stable up there. There's a force that makes everything stable and life goes on. Okay, because if not, life can end tomorrow. So that's what you can ask them. Okay, so that's it. Science is always searching for proof, and as Hebrews 11:1 said, now faith is the confidence in what we hope for and the assurance about what we do not see. By faith we understand that the universe was formed at God's command, so that what is seen was not made out of what was visible. So faith is belief on what things not seen. So just tell your friends that there is a God, but if you don't believe it, that's fine. Let science prove God exists. My greatest thing is that if I met with a person who doesn't believe in God and only science, I say, well, if there was no God, there would be no atheists.